Also, one quick thing, okay? If you hear some blending going on in the background, that's FitBar, right? Because we're still a business. Things are still happening, right? We're trying to make sure we got the levels down and right. But I promise you, I'm going to bring the thunder. So welcome to day 2, guys. Hopefully day 1, you've recovered from it mentally, taken all that stuff in, and you guys are ready for day 2. I know the feedback from yesterday was awesome. You know what I loved is that you guys were there. Like, there were so many people on every presentation throughout the whole day. So I want to applaud you first. There's some of the lessons I'm going to talk about today, but as far as showing up, just you guys in general, just showing up, learning, getting better in this time, for real, I give you an applause for that. And also, being present, because a lot of you were on a lot of the calls, and like I said, I could see who was on there and taking notes and doing the work. So, hey, great job. Reset. Time for day 2. Now, I wanted to go a little bit more tactical, like I said, in day 1. Today, I'm going to talk about 15 powerful lessons in 15 years of coaching and gym ownership. Okay, so kind of big principles of the things that I learned in Insight. So, and the thing is, I'll spend a little bit more time in some areas, like on some stories and things like that. But some things we're going to go a little bit faster because, like I said, we only have so much time, and you know how I roll. By the way, today I got a clicker. What's up? I know, balling, all out of control. So, first off, clouds and dirt. And this is something that I learned, or should I say the phrase from this guy, from Gary Vee. But just the philosophy of that, I wanted to start there because, I played basketball. That was my dream for a long time. And then, like I said, when I transitioned to coaching, and, I transitioned to coaching in a country, in a time where really personal training, essentially, you couldn't even make a regular living salary. Like, nobody in the country really did. You're either a strength and conditioning coach or you're doing it as a side hustle. That was it. But, clouds and dirt, what it really represents, what it really means is, right, having that big vision, that North Star, right, the clouds in the sky that are guiding you, okay? That's extremely important. Like, you have to have that. You have to have your North Star. You have to have a vision of where you're going. The dirt is the work, right? That's the skill set, the practice, the daily, I know I don't want to repeat this too much, the grind, but it's true, right? And what Gary taught me was that, hey, in between, all that other stuff is irrelevant, right? So, follow your vision and then put your head down and then do the work to become really, really skilled. And, from the time that I stepped into this industry, that's really been a big kind of driving force for me, right? So, but this is important, having the clouds. What are your clouds? What is your North Star? What's the vision that's guiding you? Many a times, like I said, in our coaching program, we really try to clarify that with our guys and girls. Because it's important, right? Because the thing is, if you have a path, then you'll know what you'll say yes to and what you'll say no to. But if you don't, then you say yes to everything, right? You're just all over the place. So this is really, really important. But the dirt is also very, very important, right? And we'll talk about never-ending skill development. Like Jason Harris calls it skill hunting, right? To this day, I'm constantly still skill hunting, expanding my toolbox, whether it's in training, whether it's nutrition, whether it's marketing, right? Whether it's leadership, whether it's communication. Okay, you got to consistently and constantly develop that skill set in that toolbox. Okay, and this was me with him in New York. I think 4 years ago, I got to have a meeting with him. A lot of insights. Number 2, be so good they can't ignore you. That's actually a book from Cal Newport. If you haven't read it, great book. But this is actually a Steve Martin said this, right? And in one of the interviews, it says secret to success. Be man, just be so good they can't ignore you. And at the beginning of, I would say, my career, this was, I kind of fell in love with this because, and in this book, he talks about deliberate practice, right? Deliberate practice is when you're very, very focused on building a skill. You're in the flow, but you're constantly working on this specific skill set. And you build kind of this equity, career capital. Yes, that's the word, career capital. Right, but that's the thing is that's the hours of really focused practice, whether it's learning and then coaching people. And the reality, look, in this industry, if you're not putting in the hours to become a great coach, it's not going to happen. And I have my own opinions about, it's I've been in the industry for a year, but now I'm going to go do this and open up a gym and go online. You got to get the reps in, but not just the reps, deliberate reps, focused reps, right? And like I said, I spent so much time, I would say, doing this. Even when I was playing pro ball and I was training people on the side, it was like 5 to 6 hours a day was on training. And then it was another 3 hours a day on reading books. And there's another 4 to 5 hours a day where I was like training myself. I know that's a lot of hours, but the point being is like throwing yourself into stuff, right? Joe D talked about this, right? Going kind of all in and getting tunnel vision, right? I do believe in that, like that there's a lot of distractions these days. And it's like, oh, I want to do this and this and this, and I want to do that and this. But like, I believe that the beginning, like you should spend years and years with that tunnel vision, just becoming excellent at what you do. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, right? Like last year I keep coming back to this because I promise you your business will be built on this, right? The foundation of your house, right? If your house is a business, are these 3 things: coaching, culture, and customer experience. And it's just a dope pick that I love from Vigor from one of the charity boot camps. But this is kind of like the 3 things that those things represent, right? Great results. And I promise you at the beginning, right, the first 2 are really the ones that I was working on. To be honest with you, the first one was really what I was kind of just obsessed with at the beginning, like getting results. And I don't think it's enough, and I'll share why. But just getting so good at the training part and the coaching part, and like also like obviously nutrition and lifestyle, so that people were getting results. And not like kind of results, but like wacky results, like amazing results that people would talk about. Whether it was athletes, whether it was fat loss clients, whether it was people that were in pain and getting them out of pain, right? The results were so crazy that they would legitimately go tell other people without even me, I would say, like having to say, hey, ask for referrals, will you bring a referral and any of that stuff, right? Before I knew any of that stuff. Hey, do they need to turn it down a little bit? Because if they do, obviously I'm talking to a couple people here, but don't worry about it. So the point being is, like, this is at the beginning, like this is everything that you're focused on, right? And then the second part is like the great relationships part, right? Because the thing is, if people don't know, like, and trust you, like you could be great at what you do, but if nobody likes to work with you, that's gonna be a problem, right? So you have to have, I would say, that great relationship part. Now, does that mean you have to be best friends in the world? No, right? But that mutual respect, okay, is very, very important. And then great experiences. There's a great book called The Power of Moments. And The Power of Moments, it talks about how to create these moments. And the cool thing about it is that you can create these moments every single day, right? Like every single session, you can create a moment that somebody remembers. It's a like really positive moment. Now, I'm gonna give you like a quick tip. So in that book, it talks about people remember 2 things. They remember the peak or the low of an experience, and they remember the ending of an experience. That's a very important thing to think about, guys. Okay, so meaning if you went to Disney World, you'd remember the best ride, right? The best thing. But then you'd also remember like the ending, which means that you can make the ending great. There's a little, there's all this psychological stuff that I talk about, like why do we have at the end of team training? Why do we bring it in? Why do I tell a story, right? Something that makes people feel stuff. Why do we always bring it in and have a chant? High fives, right? Because it's the ending and we can create this positive moment that people will remember. Because if you create a lot of moments that anchor your gym, your coaching, to feeling great, to feeling empowered, to feeling confident, guess what? You're gonna keep your clients, you're gonna get more clients, and long term you'll be successful, right? So like I said, that's a deep dive, but it's so important that like if right now, because people jump to, marketing real quick and having like these cool videos and this, that, and the other. Like this is the foundation of it. And it's not like, okay, cool, I'm gonna work on this for a couple months. It's like, hey, I'm gonna work on this for like years, right? And then even after, like I said, I've been coaching for 15 years and it's still things that we work on. It's still things that I work on. It's not like I'm done, right? You're never done, okay? But that's the foundation. And you gotta check yourself. What is your coaching? What is your culture? What's your customer experience like? Customer experience is actually one of those things that could be a massive competitive advantage, right? And it could be the little things, like from appreciation cards, handwritten stuff, to starter kits, to you name it, right? But you should dive deep because customer experience is actually very, very horrible across the board in business. Now, I'll give you just one statistic. When they did stats with companies and say, hey, how many of you believe that you have an excellent customer experience? 80% of companies said, yes, we do. Then they surveyed the customers and only 8% said yes. So think about that. There's a 10x gap between what companies think that they're doing in customer experience, 10x, right? 80% think they're doing a great job, 8% of customers think they're doing a great job. check yourself, because that means that 9 out of 10 of you, I mean, and I'm saying like you guys probably, I wouldn't say 9 out of 10, but you got to check yourself and go like, I can really improve this. And if coaching is equal, maybe even lesser, but your customer experience is great, you're going to be able to get more clients, keep them longer, have like higher ticket prices and everything else in between. Now, this is a really, really big lesson. It's like, there's two things. I believe you should grow out of your business, but you should, as an individual, grow into a higher level. And I'll explain what this means, okay? So I'm actually gonna start here before I show you guys a little bit of a progression of vigor. But so if you put yourself into environments, so meaning like if I go into, you know, or like my friend AJ Roberts, when he moved to West Side Barbell, right, which at that point in time was the #1 powerlifting gym in the world. They had the most 1,000-pound squatters, right? He stepped into this higher level, higher environment, and he had to adapt, right? And he became a world record holder, right? Same thing. If I was going to go, you know, think about any sport. If I was going to go box, I'd go into some of the top boxing gyms, and I'd adapt. When I want to improve business, right, I would go to masterminds, hire the best coaches in a specific area, and that will force you to adapt. The environment will force you to adapt. And I believe you should do that. I've always chased that. Like I said, whether it was basketball, going around and playing with the top coaches at 16, almost 17, you know, I would wake up in the mornings and at 6:15 be at track and field practice with a guy named Srđan Đorđević, who was Marilyn Adi's trainer. Like, we're talking about gold medalists at the Olympics. And in that environment, training with like world best sprinters, here I was with a basketball player, which with those guys, I was definitely, you know, the slowest. But guess what? I improved my speed, I improved my vertical, right? I put myself into these environments where the environment challenged me to grow, and I had to adapt. Now, when it comes to your business and your gym, whether you're a coach or whatnot, this is a big mistake. Like, don't try to grow into something. Oh yeah, you know, we did a $250,000 loan and we got this big place, and, you know, build it and they'll come. No, right? Grow out of it. Become profitable. Proof of concept, which we'll talk about a little bit. Like, grow, have, you know, profit, save, and then go into the next place, and then go into the next place. And like, this is our story. And here's what's actually, we'll start here. What you don't see, like, we actually start, you know how people will say I started in a closet in a garage, and we started in the woods. True story, right? And we started in the woods training people with kettlebells, ropes, sandbags. I mean, you actually see it. And then eventually, like me and Žiga, so it's one of my best friends from Slovenia, we started a gym together, and you can see the kettlebells here in a car. So we got this van and put stickers on it, Kettlebells the Body Project, and we drive around into the woods with the kettlebells, train like at the beginning just a couple people and in groups, and we drive around and do this. And this is where I really pushed my brother and said, hey, listen, like, I think we got something here. I think like we got to open a gym, and there was nothing like it in the country. Like, literally, we started the first, you know, I hate saying this, but functional training gym in the country. And then we got this place. This is the room. This is a 470 square foot room. I don't know why we went with sky blue colors. Who knows? Baby blue. And from there, what ended up happening is that, like, pretty quickly, at least the times where we had groups, it started getting really, really busy and packed. And then we went into this place, and you'll see another picture. So this is Marco and Žiga, who's still, no, this is, I think, Žiga's brother, but we went into that place, right? So it's about 2,200 square feet, 2,400 square feet. You can tell how much amazing equipment we had there, right? We didn't have money to take loans and this, that, the other, right? But we did have a bunch of bells, barbells, like basic stuff. But what we were doing, the culture, the coaching, and the customer experience, right, was there. And the thing is, there's a ton of progression picks, because like I said, in Slovenia, from there we went to over 4,000, then we went to 11,000, then we downsized a little bit to 10,000, but actually a better facility over there. So we've had a gym there for almost 15 years, 14 plus years now. So, you know, even after I left, that has been the progression. We grow out of things. Whereas in, let's see, okay, then this was the first, you know, I worked at big box gyms, LA Fitness, Vision Quest, and then this was my first garage gym. So this is about 1,000 square feet. It probably has black mold in it and a whole bunch of other diseases and who knows what. But this is like, I couldn't even afford the cheap ass green turf. Like, I'm talking about cheap, like Lowe's type of thing. So this is just carpet, right? This is carpet. And then watch the upgrade. Hold up. The upgrade, baby, right? We went to turf. And like this is how it looked like. You know, we did graffiti and whatnot. Here I got a bunch of athletes training in there. Here we had, this is our boot camp. We actually would get like 20 plus, even 30 people, open the doors, do stuff outside, right? But you can see this growing out of the business, right? From there, this was our last facility. I don't know if some of you were there or knew it. So this was a 4,700 square foot place. Love that spot. It was in a little strip mall. Better turf, like real turf, you know what I mean? And then finally, you know, where we are now, and obviously also ownership of the real estate in the building. So, you know, you can see this progression, and that's a big like lesson. Like, as yourself, put yourself into environments where you'll be challenged and pushed to grow in that environment, but don't do the same when it comes to your business, your brick and mortar, or even your coaching. Like, grow out of it. So I thought I'd spend some extra time there. Then this one, like, this is kind of like my life philosophy too. Like, learn, apply, reflect, course correct, and do that forever, right? Do that forever. So obviously, step number one is learning, and I just put, you know, this is the biggest PPSC done to this date. But really, my point is being like, we've done more continuing education than I probably anyone. Like, we do anywhere from 9, 10, 11 events a year here at Vigor Ground, you know, pre-COVID, for years and years and years. Matter of fact, we've had like 82 different speakers. This is not counting the Vigor Ground Summits. It's just like in-staff certifications, seminars at Vigor Ground, right? So being obsessed about, like I said, be so good that they can't ignore you, and then also constantly learning, and then the stuff that you learn, applying it instantly. Like, we'll have a seminar, the next week we're already using some stuff that we learned, right? And then we reflect on it. Hey, did that work? Does that make sense, right? Let's course correct here a little bit, right? And you do that forever. You do that forever and ever and ever. It has to be a way of life. It can't be like a tagline and it's cool and whatnot, right? But you'll see as things become a little bit more open up. We have another PPSC December 6th, 7th. You know, we got an apprenticeship with Brett Bartholomew coming up here soon. We're just setting a date on it. You know, next year, I guarantee you we'll have another 10 events at least, right? Which is 10 opportunities to learn, grow, get better. And that doesn't even count the things that we fly out to, the courses we do online, the masterminds, the mentorships, and all of those different things. But that has to be a way of life. And you have to check yourself, like on a scale of 1 to 10, like, hey, how much are you putting yourself in like environments where you'll be challenged and pushed to grow? And also, like, how much are you learning, applying, reflecting, course correcting? Because it is an advantage. And Alan Cosgrove talks about this, right? Like, the most, and Mark, I was just listening to a podcast from Mark Cuban, who said, the biggest competitive advantage moving forward is if you can learn faster and apply faster. That's it. The biggest competitive advantage in business. Can you learn faster? Can you apply faster? Right? And the thing is, you can become, as you do it, you become better at learning. When you learn how to learn, and you get better at it, which means that, you know, for someone that it might take them months to figure something out, somebody that's really good at learning might do it in 2 days. Guess what? Speed, right? Speed kills. Speed kills in good ways when it comes to business and application. Have proof of concept. So this is more of a training, I would say training kind of / business concept. What I mean by that is I've seen a lot of people launch stuff because it sounded, oh, let's do this because it'll bring in some money. Let's do an 8-week program because it sounds good and I saw this guy do it. No, proof of concept. And proof of concept, I'll give you an example. So I was still playing pro basketball, doing 2-a-days for 2 hours, 2.5 hours each, right? In between, I was coaching people and people were loving it. They were getting results. And then we started training those little groups inside of Tivoli, which is a park. And, you know, it went from 1 person to 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 to 10 to 12. People were coming by going like, hey, what are you guys doing swinging those metal balls? Because we're doing kettlebells, right? And we'd be like, hey, listen, come by on Friday and try out a free workout, right? And it kept growing. Proof of concept. I knew we had something before taking the next step. When we launched our strength camp, which is our men's small group personal training strength program, we probably launched about 9 years ago, 8 to 9 years ago. We did a man's formation. It was an 8 weeks program, a small group personal training program with 12 guys in a group. We actually launched with 24, so we had 2 groups of 12. And the results were phenomenal. The guys loved it. We had proof of concept, right? Beta programs. Like I said, doing the work, and this is where I say, like, hey, train 1 person, train 2, like train 1 athlete, train 2 athletes, train 3 athletes, train 5, 6. Oh, you're getting results. Proof of concept, right? Push forward, right? But be willing to, like I said, fail and test things out and work on them before you go like, oh, we're going to launch this full blown, rather than just, launching and it doesn't work. And then you're like, oh shit, I failed, like with all eyes on me, which is, look, yes, it's fine, but if you have proof of concept, things will grow and go better. And this goes for anything, right? This goes for anything. Like when I opened when we opened the gym in Slovenia, proof of concept first, right? We got to training tens of people in the woods and in gyms and whatnot, and then we're like, hey, let's start our spot, okay? This is a massive lesson that in the last years I've been learning more so than ever, like really truly experiencing it. It's a Dan Sullivan book as well. It's like, not how, but who, right? Or it could be who, not how. Either way. So my whole kind of life, I wanted to learn every how there is to learn, right? And think about what we do as gym owners, right? And as coaches, marketing. I mean, obviously there's the coaching, the culture, the customer experience that I talked about, which is the foundation. Obviously, you got to be great at it. But then you have, like, if you're running a business, marketing, sales, systems, fulfillment, leadership, right? Like all those different things that you're learning to do and kind of juggling the ball. Okay. Now, the thing is, if you try to, or like management, ooh, that word, right? That kind of crushes me personally. But the point being is like if you got to try to learn everything, you zap out, you zone out. And so, not how but who, what it says is like there's a lot of things that you shouldn't necessarily learn how to do. But there's people, the who will be the right person to help you do that because they're excellent at it, right? And I'm going to raise my hand here because like I'm like leadership, yay. Management, yeah, right? There's people better at it, right? There's organizational skills that like I'm okay, but there's people that crush it. And instead of me trying to be fantastic, world class at those things, I'm taking away energy from being world class and best in the world at the things that I should be, right? My skill sets, my art. Okay, so what here, like you really have to become good and really focus on who's the right who, right? And that could be like, hey, somebody that's doing your marketing. It could be coaches that are working for you. It could be somebody that steps into, operations GM position, whatever it may be. Sometimes it's like doing creatives, whatever, right? Point being is you gotta find the who and take away from trying to do all the how. Now at the beginning, you may want to, look, at the beginning you're gonna kind of have to do a lot of things, right? It's like that book Range. You're gonna learn a lot of shit, which is fine, which is good. But as soon as possible, like admin work, like I hated that and I found somebody that's really good at that, okay? And so that's really, really, really important. Too many of you are still doing too much how, right? If you become the most phenomenal coach in your area, like you're the number one coach in your area, get people to do other stuff so that you can continue to be the most phenomenal coach in your area. I hope that really, really makes sense because this is really, really important, okay? Guys, there's coaching, then there's the business of coaching. And this is like one of the very few times that you'll see me in a suit, right? So I wanted to post that for that reason. But it's also like, hey, business Luca, right? Now, look, there's truth to that. I'm going to sip on, it looks like a pimp cup, but really is just a bigger cup with some bang in there. Now, here's the thing. Like you could be phenomenal at coaching, taking that next step, and especially if it's something like owning a brick and mortar business. There's coaching, and then there's the business of coaching, right? Where here it's like learning program design, cues, having understanding nutrition and understanding communication, which is obviously very, very important, accountability and all these different things that help you get your clients' results. Here is what I said earlier: marketing, sales, systems, fulfillment, leadership, management, right? Business 101. And you could be great here and not be that good here at all because this needs deliberate practice. And I will say this. You have to a certain degree, learn to love business if you're going to be in business with something like a gym like Vigor Ground, right? Or if you have your own gym. If you're like, I hate business, right? And you're like, maybe you should be doing something else. And like I said, this is that conversation, and hopefully I'll talk to Dr. John Berardi in our Fireside Chat about this a little bit more. But finding out what is your calling, like what should you be doing? Because a lot of times people go like, this is what I should do. The logical next step for me is to open a gym. And for a lot of people, it's not, right? And you have to understand that those are two different distinct things. And you got to learn this one, and you kind of got to learn to love it, or at least like it, if you're going to be successful on that end, right? But know that you don't have to do it. We have so many options in the industry of the things that we can do to build our careers. And it's important for you guys to understand that. Because this is what I'm saying. For some of you, if you haven't studied marketing and you avoid it, well, guess what? Or sales and you avoid it, guess what? You got to do those things. Systems, you got to do those things. Right? You can't avoid those things and long-term build what I would say a sustainable business, a predictable business, right? So that's important. And then here's a magic question. How much time are you spending on that per week? How much time are you spending on marketing, learning it? How much time are you spending on sales and persuasion, right? On content creation. And if you're right now, you're going like, maybe like an hour. Well, would you get better doing an hour a week of coaching? No, it takes you 10 years to be okay at it, right? Superpower, being focused and consistent. Like Craig Ballantyne talks about this, like focus is the new like currency. Really it is. If you can stay focused for 4 hours a day and do deliberate work, you're gonna outwork somebody that can do 12 hours of it. Big lesson for me, right? Because my whole mentality, my whole life was outwork everybody, right? And it still kind of is, and that can get you, it's a very powerful thing, but it can also get you in trouble. And so the consistency of stuff, guys, like you'll win with consistency. Now, I put this example out there just because it's one example. This is about 6-7 years ago. Our first event, Changing the Game, we did with Travis. You can see Steve Krebsy there with a nice blazer, and that's their hip-hop preacher, Eric Thomas. And the thing about that is that like we actually I don't even want to tell you how much money we lost, how we got sued. It was crazy. It's a story for another day. It was a catastrophe. The event was phenomenal. But on the back end, like I thought I was gonna lose my mind. But my consistency part is like, even when we look at the summit and it's virtual, but it's like, this is the 5th big event. Like we've done tens, if not 100 smaller events, from seminars to in-staffs to, right? But big, and it's like over 7 years, right? And we've been doing smaller seminars now for 9, 10, 11 years now. Consistency, right? Everything takes time. And it's like, the first one we did, so many mistakes, so many lessons. And the second one was a little bit better, and then a little bit better, and then a little bit better, right? And you keep, maybe you guys don't see the back end of the craziness, but there was a ton. And with your business, it's the same thing. Like people want to open a business and be like, yo, in the next year, I'm going to do 7 figures, and right? But it's like, it's another one of the lessons, like being in it for the long haul and constantly just getting better. What's the goal? Be better. The infinite game. Simon Sinek talks about it. It's not a finite game. It's an infinite game. It doesn't really end. There is no end. There is no end to this. And like when I get here, then I'm gonna go, be on the beach and lay on the beach and like everything will be great and that's it. Game over, right? It's not how it works. There's this joy to the journey. Like Kobe said, man, the dream is the work, right? But if you can stay focused and consistent, you win. Even if somebody's shooting past behind you, I can't tell you how many times, like in basketball, right, where like I was not genetically gifted, and you're not looking at me going like that guy's for sure playing basketball, right? And it was just that like those guys that were better than me, but I would just stay consistent, focused, and worked. And then like 4 years later, right, some people quit or stop or they didn't put in the work, and all of a sudden they're like, man, your shot's getting better. Man, I can't D you up anymore. Wow, like man, you can dunk it now, right? But it was like it didn't happen from 1 month to 3 months later or 5 months. It was like years. So if you can stay focused and stay consistent and just keep getting better, like you will succeed. And like I said, I look back at this and after this event, because we were so smoked, and like I said, we had a whole bunch of troubles, and we're like, we're not doing it again. And then people would say, hey, the event was so amazing. Like we had so many positive things happen from it. We started businesses, business improved, this, that, the other. We did it again and again and again. It was just kept showing up, being focused, being consistent. So this is just one example, but like I said, somebody asked about content, and I said, go back on my YouTube channel. I've been shooting content for 12 years, videos for 12 years. They sucked at the beginning. If you want to laugh, go back, look at the videos from 12 years. It's legit like me, like lifting weights and being crazy. Luca, lift heavy weight. It's just, that was it. Like that wasn't content. It was like, watch me do like 50 reps with a 100-pound dumbbell, And it's like, that was it, no more words. But it's like you get better and you get better and you get better. And it's like, oh my God, like you just blew up. No, like, it's been consistent and it's been focused. And whenever I lost focus, that momentum stopped. Just kind of like your compound interest in money stops, right? Same thing. So there's a huge lesson there. This is one of our core values, right? Service, leave it better than you found it. So I'm not going to spend as much time here because that was the theme of last year's Vigor Round Summit. But if every single day, like look, just keep this in mind. If every single day you get up and you go, hey, I'm going to leave every person that I'm with a little bit better than I found them. Every place that I go, I'm going to leave it a little better than you found it. Right? If I go to a company, this is a big one. If you're working for somebody, with somebody, like rather than being like, oh, can you leave it better than you found it? And if you do, you will be better off. You'll grow and you'll go to a better place. Right? But if you're like, fuck them, like, I'm telling you, that mentality is not going to get you ahead. I promise you that. Like, have this focus of leaving things better than you found them. On a micro level or on a macro level. On a micro level, it's like, hey, I go into a space and it's like a certain way. You know what? I'm going to clean it up to where it's a little bit better than I found it. Okay, cool. This person came in a crappy mood, but they left a little bit better. Or maybe a lot better, but at least a little bit better. Right? Hey, our community, this is what it was last year, but then our business moved in. And it's like now it's a little bit better because we do charity events and we help people. We do food drives for the homeless and you name it. We made it better. Okay, and that has to be a way of life. And like I got tattoos of different things, and I got things plastered all over the place to remind me, like, hey, listen, man, this is what you do. This is who you are. This is the values that we live. This is your compass. This is your North Star. Leave it better than you found it, guys. Live it. Okay, be in it for the long haul. Seek endurance over trendiness. Okay, now. Being strategic and like using a trend, cool. But when people go into, oh, this is what's popping right now. Let me go into that. Oh, shit, this is popping right now. Let me go into that, right? You won't succeed that way. Endurance, right? That's the win. Where it's like, okay, cool, we have this model. All right, let's get better with this model. Let's keep working, right? You got to look into the long run and build it rather than going with trends. And trends can be, like I said, I mean, when we talk about nutrition fads and, you jump on this thing and you jump on that thing. But in business, the same thing. Hey, this is TikTok's popping right now. Right? Oh, hold up. This is popping right now. But you can't build anything for like, if you're not doing it for years to build it, right? And that is endurance, right? Don't be trendy, endure. Determine your core values, then live them. I maybe wanted to put this first, but most of the time, like when I started my career, I certainly wasn't sitting down going like, what are my core values? Let me live them every day. Because I just wasn't there yet. But if I could, I would say push anybody to do this sooner, I would. And at the beginning, I remember there was a time actually, if Alan's watching this or is going to watch this, he's going to probably laugh. We talked about this. Results Fitness had their core values. And all of a sudden I saw gyms, like, 100 different people had the same core values as Results Fitness. Because they're like, yeah, those seem cool, we'll do those, right? And like, look, there's nothing wrong with that either, but it just means that you haven't really thought about what you stand for, what you stand against, what you die for, like what do you care so deeply about that you do anything for, right? But it's very important to do because you can then ask yourself questions. And even when you hire, you can ask, hey, like, are these people living in line with the values that we believe in or live? Because it's one thing to make cool, like, these are ours. I'm going to go, like, just name them real quick. But the point being is like, everybody can put memes up and put shit on the walls and whatever. But the truth is, like, people see what you do. And if you have values and, like, you're not living them, it's like, hold up. Your service? Man, this person never does shit, right? All of a sudden, there'll be a huge disconnect. And that's why you have to create them, or should I say determine them, and then you got to live them. Right? So ours are a commitment, all in. So be all in with stuff, right? I'm all in on this. Like, you understand, like, I'm all in. Like, almost like obsessive psycho all in, right? Like, if you have a team and you're committed to people, man, be all in. Don't be a habitual line stepper. If you don't know what that's from, we got a problem. It's a Dave Chappelle shit. Teamwork, right? So every value, we have a tagline that could go on a shirt. Commitment, all in. Teamwork, rise as one. Service, leave it better than you found it. Excellence, we give our best and expect the same from others. Growth, get 1% better every day. Inclusiveness, until we all win. Fun, we take coaching very seriously, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. Love and hard work, heart and hustle. Communication, we communicate clearly and we talk about the good and the bad. There's also another one, respect, on there. That's not on here. But the thing is like, could you put that somewhere on a wall? Like, we're getting a wallpaper there, where now you live those. You go in and you go, man, am I aligned with that? Right? Because the thing with values is like this. We all fall off track. But imagine a compass, right? So if you've ever like gone through the woods and had a compass, and you'll see the needle in the compass, right? If you're going north, it won't just stay north. It'll go like left and right and kind of right? But then you're moving along, right? You're adjusting yourself. So that's what values do. Like you fall off, you make a mistake, you fuck up, but you have a guiding kind of compass to take you in the direction of your beliefs, right? Clouds and dirt, values, like these are your guides, right? And so this is why this is so important, where it constantly directs you to true north. This is your true north. But what is true north for you, right? You have to determine that. You have to determine that. Build a brand, but don't be a brand. Be human. Okay. Now, what I mean by like building a brand is, Jason Harris was talking about like these brands that are more than that, right? So I'm going to take Vigor and give you this example. Okay. So Vigor Round is a gym. Okay. But to me, I believe it's more. I think it's a movement. I think it's a way of life. It's those values that we talk about. But we have a gym in Slovenia. We have one here. We're launching a lot of stuff online. We put on a summit. You know, like we're going into next year, like starting to do more apparel. Not like more so for like branding purposes, but nonetheless, we get so many requests for apparel stuff that now, okay, cool, let's go into that. My point being that it's a brand, okay? Now, brands are about, you know, talk to Jordan Side about this. Brands are about how you make people feel. That's why you want to be human. But from a brand standpoint, like if you're a brand, then you can launch other aspects of your business and it'll be successful, okay? Like I said, whether it's online coaching, whether it's seminars, whether it's this, whether it's that. Okay, so building a brand, now remember, how do you help build a brand? Digital marketer talks about this. Make people laugh, make people cry, make people feel, give them value in advance. Make them feel, give them value in advance, right? So that means that your content, like that we talked about yesterday, really helps determine, obviously, branding a lot, okay? Helps determine branding a lot. But this is important, like, because it is important to build a brand. When people are like, who gives a shit about that? No, it is important. Trust me, because it's positioning, right? It's positioning. That's why, like, if I gave you a shmoo shoe that you want to wear, or would you want to wear a Nike shoe or a Jordan 1? Jordan 1, thanks, appreciate it, right? Branding. And the thing is, you can be a small giant. Andy's going to talk about that tomorrow, being a small giant and being a brand is a small giant, a small business that is a name, okay? Business is like life. What people remember most is how you make them feel. Nurture the soul of your business. Nurture the soul of your business, baby. Communication is key. No matter how good you are at it, you have to get better. And I feel like I've spent a ton of time becoming better at communication. I still have to get better at it, right? I know Brett Bartholomew was talking about this. Guys, like, how much time are you spending on improving your communication? Like, I'm going to, like, this is a stare down right now. Every single time we go through this, guys, like, we'll sit down with coaches, and we realize that really, like, on a monthly basis, very few people just sit down and go, like, I'm going to work on communication. Get the crucial conversations book, impossible conversations book, right? I'm going to go do coactive coaching and then apply it. I'm going to go through PN level 1 and 2 and then apply those coaching lessons and communication lessons. You got to work on this at all times. You got to work on it at all times and be deliberate about it. Just like, hey, listen, I want to get better at, my left-handed, like, high toss layup. Okay, cool. You don't go into the gym. You never practice it. Game comes. You try to go up with the left, like you're getting blocked. You can't even dribble it. That's literally how communication works. It's like, okay, so you're going to tell me you're going to get better at left-handed ball handling and layups, shooting over centers, but you don't go in the gym and put in deliberate practice of actually dribbling the ball and doing that and then having a defender and doing it. How are you going to get better? That's the equivalent of you not deliberately sitting down, work on your communication, and then going to apply it. Remember, learn, apply, reflect, course correct. Right? These dots are connecting. You have to look at your days and your weeks and go like, I want to get better at this. Okay, cool. How much am I dedicating to that? And a lot of times when you look at your calendar, your watch, that shit's not in there. Okay, you're not getting better. It's like AAU basketball. If you just play all the time, you're not getting better at the skill you need to improve on. Nugget, right? And just remember, I love Danny Meyer. If you haven't read Setting the Table, read it. If you've read it again. Like, I read it every single year. It's far better to be heard than to be agreed with, right? We can disagree, but man, hear me out. Understand me. Try to understand me. Be curious about that. This is another Danny Meyer lesson that, like, probably, if like for you guys, when it comes to hiring, okay, hire 51 percenters. I wanted to write be a 51 percenter, but here's the problem. I think a lot of you are, because a 51%er, it's like you kind of have it or you don't. I mean, I think people can definitely change, but this is definitely you'll know it. So what is this, okay? Moth to the light, okay? Imagine that you're a business and you radiate a ton of light, okay? And the light is like attraction, it's marketing, it's like, woo, okay? And then you come to that light and it has no heat. It's just like cold, right? That's the equivalent of some businesses. Okay, they attract, but they don't have warmth. Okay, they have the technical, but they don't have the emotional. And so what 51%ers means is like this. If you had if you had the greatest technical competency in this field, which means you crush program design, you can see movement, you can assess movement like a computer, right? You can see how people are moving, what's going on, instantly find a correction. You know the X's and O's of nutrition. You can tell anything about the vectors of force production. You can cue the crap out of like any exercise known to man, like blah, 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 hormones, everything, right? Well, if you're 100% proficient in that competence, technical aspect, you have 49 out of 100 points, right? 51 is emotional. And what that is, Danny Meyer calls it this hospitality quotient, right? Because he's in the restaurant industry, one of the greatest restaurateurs of our time, whose skills are 49% technical and 51% emotional. The emotional skills that are required to create high HQ are optimism and kindness, curiosity about learning, exceptional work ethic. See how I said that? Exceptional work ethic. I even said it with gusto. A high degree of empathy and self-awareness and integrity. And so that's the 51er. It's that quote. I mean, you guys, I don't know if you can see it right there, but we have it. It's a big quote on the wall. And from Maya Angelou, it says, I learned that people will forget what you said, forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And it's all, the 51ers make people feel great. They're empaths. They're service oriented. That's why there's certain people in the service industry, they kill it. Now, I really, truly believe, because here's the thing, that 49% right here, okay, you could come in tomorrow and be into fitness and be a sponge, right? Because you're curious about learning, and I can teach you that. I can teach you all of that. But this right here, very difficult to be taught. Over time, environment can shift that, but trust me, hire 51ers. Hopefully you are a 51er. I certainly know I am. Like, I love helping people, right? I love like that aspect of, like I said, helping somebody become better. And like our tagline, right? We help people change their bodies so they change the stories to their life. I mean, honestly, I'd keep going back to this. Let's do this again. Look, let's keep going back to it. Got it? Yeah, okay, cool. So seriously, that's how important it is. And please, please, please go read Setting the Table. If you haven't read it again, okay? I think this might be the last one. Where are we at on time? 8:48. 8:48? Damn. I mean, you know, because I'm smashing this on time, I'm just going to take a moment. Can't believe it. Luke was on time. Pat myself on the back. There's a 50 Cent, a.k.a. actually Curtis Jackson, a.k.a. 50 Cent. This year came out with a book, Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. I was very, very impressed by it. I was like, let me get this shit. Love 50. It's controversial. Very, very good. Okay? So I gave you, what, 6 book recommendations? Under 10. I'm doing good. The book is called Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. But I'm going to tell you this from my perspective and what that means to me, right? And I truly don't believe that you can achieve anything worth achieving without incredibly hard work. Okay? My whole life, you know, I had to work harder. Like, I went into basketball being, you know, I'll say 6 foot, but it's like 6 foot with my sneakers on type of scenario. And I'll show you old like pictures of me, like pretty skinny kid, not genetically gifted. You know, I didn't go out there and they go like, whoa, put that guy on the track team, right? But it's like, I actually tell the story of how I wasn't in love with basketball because I sucked at it and didn't get picked, which made me angry, which made me practice, which made me get better, deliberate practice. And then I got better, and as I got better, I started loving it more, right? So that's why in the book, So Good They Can't Ignore You, it talks about this passion hypothesis, right? You're not going to just go into stuff and just love it. Because most of the time you suck at things first. You got to get better at it. So get better and you'll fall in love with it more. But my point being is like I had to use the advantage of willing to work harder to get ahead, okay? And that's why sport gave so much to me, right? Because it taught me a lot of life lessons, a lot of character and work ethic, teamwork, adversity, failing a lot, right? But the thing is that I learned to work really, really hard, and I connected if I work hard at these specific skill sets and I outwork somebody else, I'll get ahead, which was great, okay? Now, at a certain point in time in life, that can also start hurting you, right? Because you can start believing that just harder work, more work, harder work, is better, and it's not. But that's why I put hustle harder first, right? Because it does become first. Because you do have to, like, if you haven't been in a scenario where you got to work really hard, and not just for a little bit, but a long period of time, right, to develop something meaningful, worth getting, right, you have to build that skill set. This is a muscle, right? Like, work ethic is a muscle, seriously. But there's a point in time where it's like, why would you need to work harder when you can work smarter, right? And when you can combine those two, right? But, because once again, working smarter is like, hey, can I either not how, but who, hire somebody that will really help me out here so I don't have to work 10 times as much that person could do it in an hour. I'm taking me 10. That's dumb. Work smarter, hustle smarter, right? But, hey, is there certain things you're going to have to do more of? More frequency, more consistency, right? Yep, okay. Hustle harder, right? Should you not even be doing this? Cut it out, hustle smarter. Okay, so both of those matter, with the foundation being willing to work hard for the things that matter to you, right? Your family, your business, your vision. Okay, but then not wasting energy on shit that doesn't move the needle. I keep saying this, things that move the needle. What are the things that move the needle in your business? What are the things that move the needle in your life, in your health, right? Maybe you're running a business and like your health isn't great. Okay, what's going to move the needle there? Be smarter there. Hire a coach. Like, hey, listen, are you going to try to prep meals for lunch when it's really hard, or you can order some meals, right? This kind of goes everywhere. Start looking at like where you're hustling like really, really, really hard, but you could be just hustling smarter. And definitely read the book, right? Because it's kind of like a progression. I find myself in a lot of his story where it was like just hustling hard all the time, and then it was like, okay, there's a certain point in time, you got to start hustling smarter, right? If you can do both from the get-go, hell yes. Guess how you do that? Guess what's a shortcut? What's a cheat code? Surround yourself with people that have been there, done that, and are still doing it, okay? Actually, I do think this is the last one, yep. I just wanted to put this is one of my favorite pictures. It's my guy, Martin Rooney. He'll be talking tomorrow, right? But this is like a fucking like Mortal Kombat picture. I love it. But this is the last one. Stand on the shoulders of giants. I can't, first of all, for the last, I say like legit 15, probably even more years than that. One of the best things that I did was really heavily invest in myself, right? And I remember I was still playing pro basketball. Me and Pete were talking about this story. This was about 14 years ago, 13 and a half, 14 years ago. I flew out to Cressy Performance for the first time. Before that, 15 years ago, I flew out to London and went to Newcastle. That's when I met Eric first, because it was a seminar with him and Nick Grantham. So this far long ago, I was still playing pro ball. Like, I'm reading everything under the sun, every book, courses, whatever I can get my hands on. And I'm flying around, like, learning from every coach that I can. Like, and I'm still not officially coaching at that point in time, right? I'm still playing pro ball 15 years ago. So, going in Pavel Tsetsulin, I did the first, RKC in Europe, 2004 in Denmark, right? It was when I was doing kettlebell since like 2002, I think. But like just going around and like investing all of my money. I remember I was working for my brother's company too, translating agency, when he'd be going in and out of the country. And I was just like, hey, don't pay me, just pay for these courses. I did TIC, Trainer's Inner Circle. I was getting all these DVDs, because back then it was all DVDs and books and things like that. And not only did I like learn from the giants, right, but I started to connecting with them, building relationships with them, and many of the speakers, I can trace back our relationship for pretty much most people over a decade. Some decade and a half. Some minimum of 5 years or whatever it may be, right? But always investing time, money, energy to learn from them, investing energy to build a relationship, and basically standing on the shoulders of giants because I can see further and I can go further because I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. And the reason why I wanted to put on the summit is so that you guys can stand on the shoulders of giants in this very tough time and see, right? See further and see this better future for yourself, for the industry. And I feel like it's on us. It's on us to take these things that we're learning and not only make ourselves better, make our lives better, make our clients better, but also put back, leave it better than you found it. Also means the industry. Are we making the industry better, right? And so I will say that, are you standing on the shoulders of giants? But that means, guess what? You got put time, money, energy on engaging, whether it's with the content, with the resources. I would promote every single person that's speaking here at the summit. I love them dearly, and I would promote their product for like most of the time. Like, hey, here's an affiliate. I don't care. Like, I promote your stuff all day long because they're just great at what they do. They care about people. They care about the industry, and their stuff is the shit. And if you use it, you'll get better at it, right? So that's my pitch for just everything and everybody, right? But that's my last one, and I'm sure that like there's a lot more lessons. But as I was the last couple of weeks jotting down notes and thinking about this 15-year journey of gym ownership and being a coach, what are these things that I feel these principles, these insights that will really help you out to move forward forever, right? Like these are things that will stand the test of time for the next 15 years, right? It's got nothing to do with trends, okay? So, where are we at on time?
8:57. 3 minutes.
Man, so we're actually even finishing a little bit earlier. So, guys, if I'll finish off on this note, and I know Krebsy talked to you about you guys, but we're doing something different this year too. And if we have a 30-day accountability program, and he already talked about it. You guys will see the link for it. So when we get done with it, I think we get started October 12th, where we have our 90-day planner. So we created this 90-day planner based on, we've worked with now hundreds of gym owners, coaches, and how to get people productive to do the shit that they know they need to do, right? Moving the dial forward, okay? So we created a planner, one that like we use, right? That wasn't like, okay, this is not real world for us, but it's for coaches and gym owners. Like I said, daily routines, KPIs. We have something called game film, reflection, 30-day content, calendars, you name it. But the accountability program just helps you like really do the shit and move ahead, like get you to do 10 times more in 30 days than you've been doing, pretty much. So make sure you check that out. I'm gonna end because like I said, I actually gotta run from here up to the office because we have a fireside chat coming up with John Goodman at 9:15. And so 9:15, plug in, zap in. Like I said, we're gonna have a conversation. Conversation is gonna be a lot about moving forward. I'm gonna have some kind of like throw some stuff at him, questions, and we'll see where he'll go from it. But I think you guys will get a ton from it as far as building a business online as well as offline. I'm gonna poke him on that too a little bit, and we're gonna riff and make sure that you guys get a ton of value. So hey, listen, let me know how you enjoyed the presentation. If you'd like to know more about anything else, like I said, I wanted to make this engaging too. The reason why I'm doing these, even though sometimes there's some background noise, is because I wanted you guys to comment. I want to be able to answer you. I want to be able to, like yesterday, drop the blog post audit. I actually shot at the second part of yesterday's presentation, and I will drop that into the Facebook group also, right? So always love the feedback. Hey, love and appreciate you guys. Thank you for being with me, right in the morning, getting the day started. I know sometimes I can be a little bit groggy. Hopefully you had some caffeine and got going. And let's have a fucking phenomenal day 2. Peace out. Love and appreciate you. See you later.